Food for Thought is brought to you by the listeners of this podcast, as well as by our friends at Plain Products, my favorite sustainable solution for all of my personal care needs, and I know they're going to become a favorite of yours as well. Plain Products offers high-quality, vegan, cruelty-free, zero-waste personal care products with an innovative refill system that is closing the loop on waste. As a listener, you can get 15% off their shampoo, conditioner, body lotion, body wash, whatever it is. Here's how it works. You order your products, you choose your fragrance, including no fragrance. You choose a pump if this is the first time ordering. And when you receive your products, enjoy them. And when you're running low, simply order a refill without the pump option. And when the new products arrive, you switch pumps and you return the empties in the same box using the free label that was provided. Plain Products then sanitizes the aluminum bottles and refills them. Closed loop, period. So visit joyfulvegan.com/hair to get your exclusive 15% off discount link and code on all Plain products. And you can use this link and discount code every time you order, every time you refill. So go to joyfulvegan.com/hair. Welcome to Food for Thought. Today's episode is Stop Bugging Me, Animals Buzzing Around in Our Words. My name is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. I am your host. I hope you're doing fabulously well. I'm in the final weeks of finishing my manuscript for my 8th book called A Year of Compassion. It's due very soon, and I really shouldn't be doing anything but writing that, but I wanted to pop over here and share an episode with you. Also, if you're in the Vancouver, Canada region, I will be speaking at Planted Expo on June 1st and hosting a special private happy hour meetup the day before on May 31st from 3 to 5 at vegan restaurant Mila. So space is limited, but RSVP today at joyfulvegan.com/events, and I hope to see you there. Once I get home, we're going to be heading to Northern Italy for the 4th time, hosting an all-inclusive trip, of course, with my friends at World Vegan Travel. And there's one spot left if you are looking for last-minute travel. This is starting in mid-June. And there's also one spot left for Rwanda in November 2024, but that's it. And the most exciting news is Croatia. If you are interested in joining me in Croatia on our own yacht in September/October 2025, it starts at the end of September and it goes to the beginning of October. Go to joyfulvegantrips.com or just joyfulvegan.com and you can click on trips and you can see that it's filling up fast. And this is the second trip because the first one sold out within a couple days. So we added a second one and that's filling up quickly too. So go check it out and I hope you can join me. And then finally, I wanted to let you know that our Patreon community is growing and I'd love to have you part of the club. We have an incredible group of people over there I'd love you to meet. We have private chats, we have Q&As, we have bonus content and so much more. So if you'd like some high-touch connection with me, this is where you'll find it. And with some fabulous people I know you'll become friends with, then head over to joyfulvegan.com/donate and pick your perks. Okay. This episode is so much fun to share with you. It was so much fun to write. I love the research that is required for episodes like this. Not everyone likes research. I love research. And you might be surprised by some of the words that I'm going to share with you that you may not have realized have animals in them. So many of you know I've talked about animal-related words and expressions, and I coined the term animalogies to refer to those animal-related words and expressions. Some of them are positive, some of them are negative, some of them are hidden, some of them are neutral, and we say them every day, and there are thousands. So if you've ever found yourself saying things like, stop bugging me, or stop badgering me, or stop pestering me, or nagging me. We're going to get into each one of these words and more, and you're going to discover all the animals in them. So let's start with badger. So to badger someone means to harass or annoy persistently, as exemplified in phrases like badgering the witness. The verb's origin can be traced back to the late 18th century, originating from the very cruel blood sport of badger baiting. Now, you would have heard about this barbaric practice where dogs were set upon badgers for entertainment. And it's similar to dog fighting or bear baiting. The idea is you set the dogs upon the animals until they're so injured that they die. Yay! How is that fun? How is that fun? I know we do plenty of things today that are violent towards animals. And this whole very Victorian, especially Victorian was in the Middle Ages as well, where you had bear baiting and bull baiting, and certainly in ancient Rome, where you had all of the horrific displays of animals in the amphitheaters. I don't think I would have been one of those people going. I just don't. I think it's safe to say I wouldn't have been that person. And I'm not saying that I did not contribute to cruelty against animals when I was eating them, obviously, but I just don't think I would have been that person. So luckily, it's illegal now. And many of us, if you're in the United States, you really have probably never even seen a badger. They are an animal in the UK, and there's a lot being done to protect them. But luckily, that blood sport is illegal, but we still have this term. I did hear that there might be an origin for this term in the fact that badgers hunt, and in their persistent hunting is where we get that term to badger. I'm not convinced by that. I'm pretty convinced by the term to badger from this blood sport. That's what I've seen from most word histories. So that is to badger. It does have to do with an animal. It does have to do with badgers, has to do with the human actions of inflicting dogs upon badgers, which luckily we no longer do, but we still have the term to badger, meaning to harass or annoy persistently. We have another verb, which means to harass, annoy, irritate someone, and that is to bug, when you're being bugged by someone or someone's bugging you. The original etymology is unclear. We don't know when it was first used, but speculation suggests that it stems from the irritation insects cause when they're buzzing all around your face. We also have the noun a bug, or the verb to bug, referring to a recording device that is placed on someone or in a room for surveillance, right, to gather evidence. And that context, that history probably also relates to the fact that a bug would be small, and that's how you'd be able to hide this device. And then we have, in the context of computing, bug meaning a software glitch. And that was first used by engineers in the 1870s to describe mechanical defects inspired by the notion of insects interfering with the machinery, like small enough to get into the machinery and cause problems, right? And then it just kind of got embedded into our modern vernacular, apparently popularized in 1946 when scientists at Harvard found an actual moth causing a computer malfunction. So whether or not that's apocryphal or true, I don't know, but it became popularized in the mid-20th century. Now, the noun bug comes from an Old English word Buddha, Buddha, as it would have been pronounced, meaning beetle. But the Middle English word meaning something frightening, buje, meaning something frightening, is possibly the source of the words bugbear and bugaboo. So these are related etymologies, still from the word bug. And so you've got bugbear, which originated in the late 16th century, and it combines bug, meaning something frightening, a goblin or a scarecrow, some kind of specter, some kind of ghost, and bear, referring to a large mammal who is often associated with fear or being afraid of this animal and danger. And so metaphorically, a bugbear is something imaginary or exaggerated that causes fear or anxiety. And so over time, it came to signify a source of dread or annoyance often used to describe something that's perceived as an obstacle or a nuisance. So that's a bugbear. And then bugaboo is a variant of bugbear. It emerged later in the 18th century and it has a similar meaning like bugbear. Bugaboo is used to describe something that causes fear or anxiety, often an imagined or exaggerated threat. And it can also refer to a persistent problem or annoyance. So that's bugaboo and bugbear and bug. Then you have the noun pest and the verb pester. You can use pest as a noun as well, to pest someone. To pester is usually how it would be phrased. And so pest is a noun that typically refers to any organism, especially an animal or an insect, that is considered detrimental to humans or crops or livestock, quote unquote, or property. And so the term originates from the Latin word pestis, which I think you know the origins of that, originally meaning plague or contagion. That's how we get the word pestilence, for instance. And so over time, the word pest evolved to encompass various nuisances, but especially those related to agriculture and health, and especially those nuisances that were caused by destructive animals or insects. And so then you have the verb to pest. It's used less common. I think to pester is more common. And that means to trouble or annoy or harass persistently, often in a similar manner to the behavior of insects or animals in agriculture or in nature. And so from there, pester came a little later on, and it means the same thing. So pestis, pest, to pester, to pest. Then we have a term to nag. So all of these are about annoying incessantly, right? So we have nag as in someone nagging someone, kind of bothering someone with persistent exhortations or behavior. And interestingly, I don't think a lot of people know that the origin of nag, it has a very long history and some of it's a bit speculative, but the word nag was a word that referred to a horse. It was a horse. And especially it came to be a horse who was old or in poor condition, one who was, no longer fit to be ridden or worked. And so the origin of the word nag in the context of horses dates back to the Middle English, and it referred to a small riding horse. But then over time, it acquired these connotations of a worn out horse, an inferior horse, or something that was tiresome. And it eventually extended metaphorically to describe people who are tiresome or annoying, someone who's persistently or annoyingly reminding you of something or criticizing you. And that's how it's attributed to the behavior of an old or inferior horse. So it sounds like it's a bit of a leap, but I've seen enough and I've dug enough to be pretty confident about that. So to nag, or nag, is it could be a noun. Someone could be a nag, or it could be a verb. Now, I don't think a lot of people know that nag was a horse. I mean, perhaps if you read enough, 18th century literature, or you're in the UK, I think possibly you would know that nag is a horse. But I think the reason people would avoid using the word nag today is because I think it's associated with women harassing or being constantly complaining and bothering their husbands. Like, I think that's how it's kind of come to be portrayed. It doesn't have to, but I think that's the association with it. However, it is an animalogy coming from the word for horse, and especially an old, worn out horse. Then we have the word harass, as in harassment, as in harassing someone, as in continually bothering someone until they feel exhausted or overwhelmed. It's not necessarily the severity of the individual attack, but it's this like relentless barrage of small annoyances that wear someone down. And so, yes, this word is an animalogy as well. I know. Who knew? So the word likely originates from the Middle French word harer, Harer, meaning to set a dog on. That's what it means. It comes from the Middle French word meaning to set a dog on. And so that's how it comes to mean to provoke or to kind of relentlessly pursue. That's to harass, to set a dog on. And then we have the word hound, to hound, another verb meaning to persistently harass or pursue someone to the point of annoyance or distress. The term hound, I think it's going to be pretty clear. You're going to go, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. Refers to a type of dog bred for hunting and known for its persistence in tracking prey. So, metaphorically, to hound someone is to pursue them relentlessly, much like a hunting dog would pursue his prey. Then we have the word to bait. So, kind of similar to this practice of hunting, unfortunately, bait, B-A-I-T, to bait, either bait as a noun, but to bait someone, again, is to kind of persecute someone, to torment someone, to just keep after someone. And this word comes from an Old Norse word meaning to cause to bite. And it originated in the context of feeding animals or enticing them with food to cause them to bite. Eventually, it came to be used metaphorically to torment or persecute someone, to bait someone. And over time, it also expanded to include the idea of using something attractive to lure or entrap animals, especially in the context of hunting or trapping. And so we know it literally, the concept of using bait to attract prey, uh, eventually extended to other contexts, such as enticing someone into a trap metaphorically, or setting a lure or a device to manipulate them. So the etymology of to bait, as it relates to being lured, is deeply rooted in the activities of enticing animals with food or other appealing objects, originating from Old Norse and Old English influences. And actually, on that note, if you remember the falconry episode, I did a falconry episode. I did all of the words that come from falconry. The word lure is actually a word from falconry. And it is specifically, this is from the early 14th century. It comes from the word, an Old French word, referring to the device used to recall hawks, to lure them back, the lure that was used to recall the hawks back to you. So you have to go listen to that episode on falconry if you haven't already, or go re-listen to remember that lure is also an animalogy. Then we have a word, henpeck, a verb, which describes more persistent and often petty criticism, or again, kind of nagging. Typically, again, kind of a negative word around women. Nagging, I think does. I don't think people talk about men nagging. I think people talk about a wife being a nag, and same thing with being henpecked. So referring to a husband being henpecked, obviously a hen being a female chicken. And so it derives from the behavior of hens pecking at each other, often in a hierarchical or dominance related context. And so in the same way, to henpeck someone is to nag or criticize them incessantly. To henpeck. We also have to crow. It's not directly related to annoyance or pestering, if you will, but the verb to crow can be used metaphorically to describe someone boasting or bragging excessively. And this usage comes from the behavior of roosters. So speaking of chickens, they crow obviously loudly to assert their dominance and announce their presence. And honestly, it could be very annoying. It could be very annoying if you've ever lived next to a rooster. I love roosters. It could be really annoying. So there we have it. Several animalogies having to do with persistent annoyance, all having to do with animals. To recap, we have to bug, to pester or pest, or to pest, to nag or to be a nag, to badger. I don't think we use badger in the noun in this context, but as a verb we do. To harass or harassment as the noun, to hound, to henpeck, to bait. What do you think? I know I talk a lot about how I'm mindful of my animal related words and expressions. I'm obviously mindful because I think about this all the time. I'm always on the lookout, and my ears are always pricked for words that could be potential animalogies. And of course, I check myself if there's something that I'm saying that in some way denotes or connotes violence against other animals. Obvious ones like there's more than one way to skin a cat. My preference is there's more than one way to peel a potato. You've got kill two birds with one stone. My preference is to cut two carrots with one knife. But not every animalogy is negative necessarily. Some have to do with their animal's behavior that's positive, like, you know, when we talk about someone being like a mother hen because they're very nurturing, or just having to do with animals' behavior, like hounds persistently pursuing their prey. What are your thoughts? Do you think talking about being badgered is negative towards badgers? Do you think it's neutral? What about nagging? I don't think most people know, again, that nag comes from an old horse. What about bugging? What about hounding? What are your thoughts about these words? Are they words that you hadn't thought of before? Are they words that you say all the time? Are there words that you're not going to say because now you realize they come from animals? And I've thought about this a lot because I would say, oh my God, oh, badgering, stop badgering me. Oh, wait, no, sorry, that's like an animal. Wait, bugging. Wait, no, that's an animal. Stop pestering. Oh God, that's also animal. I struggled and I thought, oh God, are there any words that talk about harassing? Harassing is also animal related that doesn't have to do with animals. And I don't know how I feel. I don't think they're all the same. And I want to hear your thoughts. I don't know that every one of them is necessarily negative toward the animal. For instance, badgering has to do with what we did to them, not because of any particular trait that they have that's negative. So I want your thoughts. And remember, if you want to say goodbye to single-use plastic for your personal care products, give Plain products a try. From shampoo to lotion, each product is in a refillable aluminum bottle crafted with wonderful, natural, vegan, cruelty-free ingredients delivered right to your door. I go to a lot of zero waste stores around me, but Plain products right to your door. So say yes to the pump when you order, if it's your first time. And when you're running low, just order a refill, return those empties for free. It's that easy. Join Plain Products today. Go to joyfulvegan.com/hair and get 15% off all the products, every time you use that link and that code at joyfulvegan.com/hair. For the animals, this is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. Thanks for listening.